Yep, okay. Just wanted to check and make sure I seem to have possibly sound, possibly picture. That's very cool. My only problem is I can hear my family chatting outside the door, and my daughter does not want to go to bed. Um, I don't have anybody here yet, so I'm just going to kind of chat for a second. Um, I hope everybody is enjoying their summer. We've reached the nearly end point. My daughter goes back to school here in like 2, 3 weeks, and it's been a warm summer. We've had some crazy record highs, and I'm going to start off by talking about the weather, which tells you how interesting this is so far. I wanted to find an excuse to try this this bottle of whiskey, and I enjoyed the chat last time trying the McTavish bourbon whiskey bourbon whiskey. That I thought I would try this again with a show that I've been wanting to chat about, but really haven't had time to put together a series of videos, and so I'm going to try it this way once again. This time, instead of talking about Bridgerton, which was still really, really good, I'm going to talk about 12 Monkeys, mostly the television series, not so much the movie because of reasons. And I wanted to do that. I thought that was kind of appropriate actually because the main character in the television series really enjoys a whiskey sour. And I had plans to try to get the ingredients to make myself a whiskey sour. And that just did not happen this time. So maybe another time I will give some interesting mixed drinks a shot. But for now, what I'm going to be trying is this is again Sam Hewn, who is the star, one of the stars from a series on Stars called Outlander. It is a time travel themed show, and so sort of appropriate to have this with a time travel themed show discussion review. Not really a review, kind of a discussion, a bit of a comparison between the movie, which did fairly well, especially for Brad Pitt, and the television series, which has kind of a cult following, which I find means more than just getting an award every now and then. If you get a cult following who, years later can't stop watching and talking about the series, it's probably a good series. And so I'm going to give this a try. Now, I did notice something real quick when I was opening this is that Sam Hewn also put his autograph on the back, much like Graham McTavish did on the back, but it's a lot smaller, and that's kind of disappointing. But on the box, here. I think I saw it. Yeah, it's bigger on the box. So I didn't get a box with McTavish Spirits. I did get a box with this. So I have two Sam Hewn autographs now. It's just that neither one of them was specifically to me, which is a shame because I'm so much fun. Um, we're going to, I'm going to attempt to open this. I have to tell you, again, the bottle, really, really nice, kind of simple, but a little bit of a design here, not too extra fancy, except this top is unusual in my opinion. I'm sure that has something to do with how bourbon is poured, but I'm not a professional, and if it lands in the glass, I feel like I've done a pretty good job. So that's as good as I'm gonna get. I'm going to attempt to open this though. The plastic holding the seal really wants to hold the seal. And this is going to be the entire video is me trying to open this thing. Hold on, I know I've got something. You know us ladies, we've always got something sitting around that we could use. Actually, I do because I was my cuticle hygiene kit, as I like to call it, is right here. So I'm gonna use my cuticle scissors and bust it out just a little bit. Okay, you can see this plastic wrap on the top. That sucker didn't want to come off. So I'm attempting now, and watch it still won't come off. But I'm attempting to open this bottle that does not want to be drunk. This is my conclusion. They don't want me to open the bottle. They don't want me to drink it. Okay, now I do have the plastic off. Phew, I'm earning this drink. All right, it looks like it's cork sealed, which the other one was too, but it was more of a plasticky cork. This one looks like a genuine cork. So we're gonna pop. Oh, did you hear that pop? I don't know if you heard that pop. Oh, yeah, that does smell good. Okay, I don't know if I'm supposed to smell it first. As I told you, I'm trying these, but I do not have a refined palate at all. So, again, I've got my extra fancy tumbler here, and I put more ice in here this time. So hopefully I won't get quite as much alcohol. I don't know. That feels like a lot. That feels like a pretty decent amount for she who Rarely drinks. I'm not going to put that up there. Okay, so here we got. I did put ice in it. If you want to judge me, go for it. But that's about how much I'm going to try here while I have a chat about 12 Monkeys, a time travel show while drinking my whiskey made by an actor who plays, well, he time travels through his mind, and then his wife causes some havoc by actually doing the time traveling. His daughter, too. Really, the family's all kinds of trouble. Um, so, in the original movie, The 12 Monkeys, we had Bruce Willis, who I adore. I really like him. Lots of movies he's in. I have really enjoyed everybody's favorite Christmas movie. Of course, Die Hard. Fifth Element is a standard in this family to watch at some point. So I enjoy Bruce Willis. And of course, when it came out, I enjoyed Brad Pitt. Good looking guy, good actor. And in fact, he got like 3 awards, 2 or 3 awards, including a Golden Globe, I think, for his performance. And then I looked this up too. Somebody, a woman, and I can't recall her name, I'm so sorry, won an award at the Saturn Awards, I believe, for the costume design, which again was very cool. It's very post apocalyptic, and they did a good job of making you feel very much as though you were viewing Pocahontas, post apocalyptic America. And it was bad. Things were bad. That's all I can say. And so, of course, the clothing options were few and far between. It was done really well, I thought. And then, again, I just looked up the names to make sure I had a refresher, but I can't recall the woman's name. Last name was Stone, but not Sharon. It started with an M. It'll come to me in a little bit. It wasn't Melanie, but played the doctor. Okay, so we had Bruce Willis's character, James Cole, and we have the doctor in present time, Cassandra Rayleigh, and then we had Brad Pitt's character, Jeffrey, and he was a little out there. Bruce Willis is post-apocalyptic guy, and he, I'm gonna take a sip every time I try to say post-apocalyptic. That's pretty good. Yeah. Again, smooth, not spiky. Nice flavor. Of course, I let the ice in there for a little bit, so could be part of it. Anyway, so we have post-apocalyptic James Cole. He is sent to our present and runs into Cassandra Rayleigh. Why is he being sent to the present? Well, if it's post apocalyptic and they'd like to stop the apocalyptic part, they have to send somebody back to find out what happened, stop what it was. It was a virus, it was a pandemic, a very familiar theme for every one of us nowadays, but then just a very scary thing. Could be the end of the world again. Remember that feeling. And so we have Bruce Willis's character, James Cole, going back and forth trying to pick up clues. The message, which started it all, was sent by Cassandra Rayleigh, and that's how they knew to get Cole. It's a whole thing. But the basic premise of the story is that they're going to try to pick up clues to find out how the end of the world happened, this pandemic, this virus, how it got loose, and stop it. And with any luck, nothing bad will have ever happened. The world will just go on, never even know there was a virus. We find out that Jeffrey, it was Brad Pitt, insane, which was very fun and entertaining to watch, um, ends up being not the cause, but a catalyst for everything that happens. And as it turns out, so is Bruce. So is James Cole. He's a catalyst for everything that happens. And I'm sure everyone has seen the movie. I'm not going to try to get like really intense about it. But the whole point of the movie, I thought when watching it was, yay, we can stop the end of the world. And really, the point of the movie is no matter what you do, we're all screwed. And so for me, I didn't appreciate the movie. I like stories with hope at the end, where if we all try hard and work together and find a way, we can get through it. And really, it was if we all try really hard and try to make sure bad things happen, we'll be the cause, which might actually be a little more true than we like to admit, but it still sucked as a theme for a movie, in my opinion. And since this is about my opinion right now, I feel fairly justified in saying that. At any rate, um, so the story itself doesn't really resolve anything. It's kind of upsetting. I will say that Yeah, Brad Pitt gave a phenomenal performance. I really did believe he was a little wacko, but could control it. I did have some issues with the way Bruce Willis's character was written because he's supposed to be as ignorant as a child would be. You know, not be able to drive, not be able to, do a thing, and not have knowledge that you would have as you grow up, as you become an adult in modern society. And I thought sometimes it was a little overplayed. And it's probably the direction. Maybe it's the writing. Maybe it's just my point of view, which is honestly what it probably is. But I thought there was an inconsistency in there. And as far as Cassandra Rayleigh, again, no knocking down on the actress because it really, I don't think it had to do with the actors. It had to do with the way women were written more often then. I didn't like her. I thought she was a little weak. She kind of just went on with things. Yeah, she made some decisions. Yeah, she's intelligent. She's a doctor, but I didn't find her character all that believable. And so for me, that made it a bit of a problem when it came to the movie. Not only that, but when the movie does end and anticlimactically with the end of the world, um, you're left with this feeling that there could have been more, that there should have been more, that they had a chance to tell more of a story, and instead it got squished down into this, I don't know, a short tale in what it could have been. At least that was my feeling then. And I say this with a full understanding that, yes, now there is a series, and oh my goodness, they filled in a lot more. But even then, I was upset with the ending. I thought that there was so much more story that could have been told. Um, and I just didn't really agree with some of the decisions in the characters. Now, when it comes to the series, because of how I felt about the movie, I wasn't going to watch it. I did not have sci fi at the time it came out, which is how I would have been able to watch it here in the States. But then, of course, it was available for streaming for a long time. DVDs came out. I avoided it like the plague because I was so disappointed with the hour and a half that I invested into the movie. I certainly didn't want to invest seasons and seasons worth of time, so hours and hours worth of time, to be disappointed with a television series and the way it ends. I'm still, I'm still sore over the way Game of Thrones ended. I think I will be for a very long time. Those of you who are Sopranos fans, I wasn't, but I still now I understand your pain when it's just so unsatisfactory, that ending, and there's no closure. It sucked. And so again, avoided like the plague this television series until I saw Todd Stashwick in a series of a season of Star Trek Picard. And I adore him as an actor, but I had not seen him play a regular character for a long period of time. And seeing him, I thought to myself, I wonder what else he's in. And then I find out that Terry Matalas, who wrote that season, wrote 12 Monkeys, and Todd's in it. So I thought, all right, I'll give it a shot. It can't be bad. And within the first 30 minutes of the first episode, I could tell it was something very different. The pilot not only gets moving very quickly, introduces you to these characters and gives them layers right off the bat, but it resolved a couple of problems that I had, including how the characters were portrayed in the movie. James Cole, who is played by Aaron Stanford in the television series, is a much more likable character, a more believable character, almost immediately. Again, no knocks to Bruce Willis. I really do enjoy him as an actor, and can't knock his performance. I just didn't like the way the character was written. And again, I don't know if it's direction, I don't know if it's the writing, and I don't know if it was Bruce. I just didn't care for it. Whereas Aaron, I very much related to his feelings quickly. I obviously have not been a child who grew up during the apocalypse, but he was a relatable character. He and his friend Jose Ramsey, who again, this is an actor who I have enjoyed for a very long time. Did not realize he was in 12 Monkeys. If I had, I probably would have watched it years ago. And that is Kirk Avocado, or it's Avocado. I'm Avocado or Avocado. I'm not quite positive on the pronunciation. I will tell you that you would recognize him from Oz, from Rise of the Planet of the Apes, from Band of Brothers, and Thin Red Line, I believe, as well. And I believe he got an award for that performance. He is a very distinctive actor. I I enjoy him. I can't help it. I see him on the screen, and immediately I smile and think to myself, "All right, there's going to be something good that comes out of this show." And he was a really good side character. And I say that for Todd Stashwick as well. The layers in which these characters were built on, and not just the ones that are the main point of the story, but the ones on the side, they were done so well. The writing was good, the acting was good, and again, you're just drawn into the story. Now, Cassandra Rayleigh, the doctor from our I'm not it kind of our present time now. Of course, James Cole and Jose Ramsey are from our far distant future, coming back to try and save our past. Well, just James, and because Jose does a whole different thing. Cassandra is our present doctor, a virologist, and she is not fighting the plague because it isn't here yet, but she's apparently a clue in how they can stop the plague. She has made a call that the future got, and again, just like in the movie, Cole comes back to go talk to her. They follow that scene in the movie really, really well. He's in the back of the car and scares the crap out of her. It's great. But it starts the story better in the series and then in the movie because it sort of ebbs and flows immediately. So I do like the way that it sort of takes off more quickly and more coherently in the television series. And then, of course, we also meet characters that sort of were touched on in the movie, like the doctors, the scientists who were sending Cole back in the movie. But in the television series, we get to know them and get to understand their motivations for this. And their motivations are not surprising at all. Got a chunk of ice there. Oh, whew, caught me off guard. Got a nice swig and a bite of ice. Perfect. So we get Katerina, who is a scientist who has invented the splinter technology. Because remember, at the core of this, it's all time travel. The only difference between um, how they're doing it compared to, say, Outlander that we're talking about is that it's all science. So she has invented splinter technology, which is basically a transporter that goes through time. So we're going back to Star Trek here. Not a big shock because Terry Matalas, who wrote it, has background in it. So, um, as they tell the story, it builds so that, how can I put this? So, the first season is basically its own storyline. The second season is its own storyline, the third and the fourth. And it is only 4 seasons. And yes, this is the complete disc set right now. It is on sale on Amazon for like $32. All 4 seasons on Blu ray. It's a good deal. But each season has its own storyline. And so we learn more about our characters and their goals as they go. And I will tell you something else that's fun about the television series is that each of our main characters takes turn being a bad guy in one way or another. The first season, it's sort of Katerina, the scientist who's running the program, because she's very demanding about what she wants. Her motivation is a daughter that has passed on, that died from the virus, or so it seems. We do find out later that's not what she died from, but that is her main motivation. And so throughout the story, we get she touches on that. In the meantime, well, we've got, let's see, who did we get? We got all our basics good guys. There are other scientists that are working with Katerina, but we've got James and Jose, best friends. We've got Cassandra in the modern in our era, and then again, Todd Stashwick's character is sort of like the gang leader of what do they call them? Scabs, scavengers. Scavengers are just surviving on the land or what's left of it, and so he's a bad guy there at the beginning. However, it sort of turns and he's a good guy later on. Now, in the middle of this, of course, there is a whole lot of time travel going on because that's the whole point of this splinter technology. They travel to different eras to get different clues to find out who has caused this viral outbreak. And every time they think that they have gotten themselves the clue to take them there, of course, it only takes them in a new direction or it makes them have to solve another problem to get even further. And their enemy turns out to be Um, well, the 12 monkeys, obviously. They're trying to, it seems, stop them from achieving their goal of stopping the virus. Um, it's very hard to go through it, but in the end, it's very much like the end of the movie where no matter what, that virus was going to spread or the the capsule was going to drop and break and it was going to go everywhere. However, in the movie version, time is a living entity and things don't always end up the way you think they will. More on that. So we are following first Cole going back in time gathering clues, finding out about the 12 monkeys, of course, trying to find out the source of the virus, which they find is a a dead subject. I'll put a very old corpse, which has this virus from years ago. Oh my gosh! And how did it get there? Um, and that's how it is gathered and supposedly used. Now, the one person I didn't talk about is Jennifer Goines. Jennifer is the new version of Jeffrey. Jeffrey from the movie was crazy Brad Pitt. Jennifer in the movie is Emily Hampshire. Sorry, I was forgetting the actress's name for a minute there. And she did, dare I say, a better job at crazy than Brad Pitt did. And I know he won awards. I don't know that she did. But yeah, she did an excellent job of crazy because I think I enjoyed it better because she had crazy with meaning. Now, as James Cole is trying to gather these clues, somebody has to make sense of it. And Katerina goes through clippings, and wherever the heck she gets all of these news clippings from, they never explain. But she has all kinds of news articles that try to make sense of the clues that James gets so they can make a timeline and figure out where to stop things. And then Jennifer Goines, it turns out, her kind of crazy isn't that she's nuts, it's that she can tell the future because there are certain people born throughout time that are connected to time and they're called primaries. And so she helps make sense of some of the clues and provides clues of her own throughout all four seasons, though with varying degrees of assistance and accuracy because, again, crazy. So that plays into quite a bit of how the story goes. Again, all four seasons did have a different theme. In one season, another group of people have been sent back in time to kill these primaries, the people like Jennifer who can see things, and these people are called messengers. And again, that just expands on that story, that original plot line. It builds and builds so that there are many things going on instead of just one guy trying to fix something can't be fixed, because I think that it involves so many more people and it gets very timey-wimey if you know, like Doctor Who. You never know where you're going to land and how things are going to be affected. And almost at every turn, very much like Outlander, everything that has changed is already something we already knew was changed. So they are often their own cause and effect, which causes them trouble in many ways, including clues that they follow to lead them to the next thing. Only it turns out they left their own clue. They're going in circles, and they say that many times because in the end, poor James Cole, he was the one who started it all. Now, I'm not getting a lot of talking back and forth here on here, so I do appreciate my two viewers who are hanging out with me right now. I did think that because 12 Monkeys has been around for a while, that more people might have seen it and have a little bit more to input towards, what they thought of the movie versus the television series. The only comment I've gotten right now is that I should say it's the Sassenach whiskey. So it's the Sassenach whiskey. Um, Now, when I go to, I'm just going to talk about this then. When I go to Las Vegas, I'm going to get a chance to meet just about everybody on the main characters that I've talked about from 12 Monkeys that I haven't already met. And that is because they are having a mini 12 Monkeys reunion because many of the people on 12 Monkeys ended up being on Star Trek thanks to Terry. Again, like I said, Todd was on Picard. Terry Metalis wrote 12 Monkeys television series, and he showrunner for, or I should say, he's showrunner for 12 Monkeys television series and the showrunner for Picard season 3. And so he brought in on people from one to the other. Not surprising. If you know the actors, know they're going to do a good job. So that's how I'm going to be able to meet also Kirk Acevedo, which I'm really excited for. Like I said, I've enjoyed him for a very long time, since Oz. So that'll be kind of a thrill, really. I almost have half a mind to bring this disc set and see if I can get them all to sign it, but I can't afford to pay for every signature, so that's probably not going to happen. When it comes down to it, the television series, I think overall, um, and I could skip the rest of the story, but there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, including the fact that there is a city that the 12 monkeys inhabit that travels through time as well. And so as James Cole and his crew, and yes, his crew do take turns traveling through time as well, as they travel through time, so does this giant city, Titan. And it does this because there is somebody on it called the Witness, and the Witness, whomever they may be at whatever point in the story you're watching, um, is trying to not not at all stop uh, Cole or Cassidy or Jose Ramsey or anybody from accomplishing their goals. In fact, they're there to encourage the timeline to stay as it is. They want to make sure there are no changes. We've got the Witness, who is this figure, and one moment it's Cassidy and sorry, Cassidy and Cole's child, and the next minute we find out it's Olivia. And who is Olivia? But this like crazy superwoman who was created by Nazis, which is a whole nother way to go in a story, honestly, because seriously, Nazis. Um, when I saw that the first time, I was like, well, I wasn't expecting us to go that way, but of course, genetic, mutation, not mutation, but manipulation, and considering the time in which the story is being told, yeah, that kind of does make sense, doesn't it? Because, yeah, you Nazis. So we've got Olivia, who and then gets kicked out of the 12 monkeys. Her older brother takes over. He thinks he's getting, I love this, that he thinks he's getting orders from the Witness. And we find out the whole time that the Witness, who is supposed to be this child that is raised to be the Witness, actually has decided he's not going to be the Witness. Fights against the 12 monkeys, or at least for his parents at some point. And the entire time we find out it was actually Olivia. Olivia is the Witness. Olivia is her own savior, although a failed one, because at the end, like a lot of folks who are too big for their britches, they cannot provide what they are promising, and she is no different. Um, I did, I want to say this right. I got a kick out of the twist where both Olivia is a mother and Katrina's daughter, who, thanks to time and the manipulation of a splinter project, was able to be saved by Cole and Cassidy. I found it interesting that there was an entire episode devoted to the fact that they were both daughters, and well, no, I would say Olivia and Hannah. Yeah, Olivia and Hannah were both mothers, and it was not devoted to them specifically, but the daughter of Olivia and her storyline, and how it was parallel to the story of Katrina's daughter, Hannah. How they wrote that in and how it was put together, I think, was um, a piece of art in itself. And I say that knowing that almost this entire series, it wasn't perfect, but it often had to roll upon itself to finish a story. And how they round that up without too many loose ends, there are a couple, but without too many though, is always a surprise to me. And I'm always really impressed with how um, they're able to come back and keep things straight as much as possible. I know it isn't perfect. There are some great questions about, well, if so and so is here, I still don't understand how Cassidy could be pregnant after they bumped back the timeline. Is it time did that? And so, if time did that, of course, at the very end, they couldn't actually let Cole die, or 7 billion people died. At any rate, I've been rambling, I think, long enough, and I actually haven't had much of this to drink because I have too many thoughts going in my head. 4 seasons worth of stuff. Uh, one of the things I really enjoyed throughout 12 Monkeys, though, was the costuming because they're going to different eras. Um, they went as far back as the 15th century, as far forward to the 2060s, I want to say. But I enjoyed my favorite thing out of all of it were Cassandra's boots when they go back to the 60s. I think they were Wonder Woman boots, only they were red and white instead of red and yellow, which I think is what they were for Wonder Woman. And I, for some reason, I just really enjoyed those boots. I thought they were fantastic. So again, um, the costuming for a show like that, it's got to be interesting and fun because one, you get to play with different eras, but at the same time, you have to envision what people would be wearing in an era where there is no future, which is a whole other thing. So, at any rate, because the 12 Monkeys television series was allowed to expand and bring in other characters, and again, very layered characters that were built. There was time taken to actually build these characters. I found the series a lot more compelling, a lot more enjoyable than the movie. And I can't specifically say it was because of the way anything was specifically written or the way somebody acted in a particular moment. I did have some issues with some of the characters in the movie that were solved in the television series. Cassandra, and I think I started talking about that but didn't quite finish it. Cassandra is not only intelligent and attractive, she is tough, and they build her up throughout that first season into the second to be able to fight for herself, defend herself, take care of herself, and take care of the people around her. I love that near the end, she and Cole are arguing about who's going to take a shot, and I'm a better shot, and takes the shot because she just is. And he's been living that way for decades, for his whole life. You would think that he would be a better shot. She picked it up faster. She's a better shot. I enjoyed that they made little changes like that to make her more real in that storyline. And again, this Cassandra went back in time and joined the mission, whereas the original Cassandra from the movie didn't. She just went along for the ride with Bruce while he was in the present. Um, but she just wasn't as likable to me, whereas the television series Cassandra very much is. She's likable. You want to see what happens to her next. You want to see what happens to all these characters next. I was rooting for Cole, and near the end, when you know his job to end this cycle and to ensure that humanity goes on, his only job is to not exist. And I like that the writers, Terry in particular, that whoever came up with the idea of, well, let's just let him come back. Let's say time decides that they owe these folks a happily ever after. And I like that there might not have been any rhyme, there might not have been any reason, but it was a decision made to satisfy the fans, because every now and then fans get really annoyed when we walk away dissatisfied. So as much as I rambled on this, I do apologize because I sort of had a train of thought and found myself wanting to talk more about different characters than I thought I was going to. Because, again, for some of them, I've met Terry, and he's a very personable guy. I really enjoy talking to him. And I would love to ask him about some things about 12 Monkeys, and I might in Las Vegas. Again, I met Todd, also very nice guy, very personable. You can see his character in the characters he plays sometimes, but he acts differently because he's not a he's not a jackass like Deacon, but he plays jackass very nicely. Um, and I just thought that it was because it was bigger, because it encompassed more storylines, that the television series has more entertainment value than the movie itself. The movie's kind of like the primer for the television series, but it barely touches on the expanded universe that the television series gives us. So, my overall thought is that the movie worth watching. It's entertaining. It's great for an hour and a half. It's not so creepy and scary that kids would freak out. It's not a frightening movie. It is a concerning one for the future. The only thing that might be a little more scary is that now a pandemic is not something in our imaginations. It's something many of us have lived through, and some kids might remember. But the ones that are old enough to watch this movie, they'll learn from it. They'll be entertained by it. The television series, I think, is the one you want to invest time in. I wish right now, what I planned to do this originally, I thought it was still on Hulu. And if you have Hulu, you'd be able to just go watch it. It unfortunately is now on Prime, and you have to purchase the seasons to watch it. It's kind of upsetting. However, as I said, the Blu ray is available for $32 for all four seasons. There's webisodes and some featurettes in there. So if you would like a good time travel show, enjoy science fiction, enjoy characters that are well rounded and layered, a storyline that it has a main point for the entire series, but the mission of the story changes season to season. And you know what? They honor the original movie, I think, very well in a lot of aspects. If you would like something like that, I would invest in it. It's, again, great story, great characters, enjoyable actors, shifting storylines, often very surprising endings, and actually some very surprising beginnings. If you can find the beginning and the ending. And while you're doing that, try to make sure you have the ingredients for a whiskey sour, because this is not one. And it is James Cole's favorite drink. And I think that every time while you're watching the series that he has a whiskey sour, you should too. And don't worry, you won't get crazy. He doesn't have them often, but he has them often enough that I think that'd be a good theme. And I kind of regret that I didn't have one today. So that was me rambling about 12 Monkeys. I hope that if I do enough of these, people will feel free to comment every now and then, and we can have a conversation about it. Until then, this is what we get. I hope you enjoyed it. As far as the whiskey, my ice is nearly melted. So this is probably at least half water at this point. But when it wasn't, I would still say it was very good tasting. You know, they say you can kind of taste the barrel, the wood of the barrel, that smokiness. I can kind of taste that in the background. I don't have a refined palate at all. So I can sort of taste that. I'm not sure if I can taste any hints of vanilla or anything like that that might be added to it, but I can taste a bit of smokiness in it, and I didn't really taste that with the McTivish, McTavish bourbon. I don't believe. I just remember that it wasn't like Sharpie. And this wasn't either. So thanks for joining me. Both of you, I very much appreciate it, even though you've come and gone. Um, and hopefully, like I said, the more I do this, I'll get a little more comfortable chatting about these and have slightly better points. And hopefully, some people want to comment as well. Again, thanks for joining me. If you didn't get enough information or entertainment from this video, go ahead and check out the other ones on the channel. And yeah, this is just still just practice. I really appreciate you being my guinea pigs. Try the Sassenach Spirits whiskey. It is pretty good. And again, untamed, unpracticed, unrefined palate, but I found it to be tasty. Thanks, guys. I will see you in the next.